Welcome to the Pitcher Nail Down. I'm Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11. Looking at pitching for tonight's 14-game slate. Big slate, lots of good offenses, lots of high totals. So pitching is definitely kind of not scarce, but it's pretty limited to about 5 or 6 guys that you can really get excited about. Jumping in, obviously Chris Sale, we have the game going against his old team. You look at last time out, Sale failed to get double-digit strikeouts for the first time since opening day. A good run. Obviously, he takes on his former team that, they haven't been bad against left-handed pitching. First in WOBA, they have scored the most runs against lefties this year. Smaller sample size, obviously, in 2017, but even when you pull it back to 2016, they ranked 4th in WOBA, basically, with similar offensive guys. So you obviously look at Sale, 36.7% strikeout rate, 16.1% swing strike percentage, 4th in ERA, 1st in Sierra in the qualified starters. So Sale brings a lot to the table. He's expensive. There are cheap SP2s you can pair with him on DraftKings. There are cheap options you can use on FanDuel. If you play Sale, you're likely not getting Coors bats in there. His price did drop a little bit, but it's still extremely high. So if you want to get Coors, Sale is probably not the option to go with on FanDuel. And I'm more looking at just Rockies bats and Coors. I think there's other solid offenses to target like Toronto, Texas, Tampa. That's going to be a good one again. So there's going to be definitely other ways you can go to fit guys in with Sale if you want to. Not a must play for me on this slate, but I do like him quite a bit. Obviously, he's kind of far and above all the rest of the guys that are going. If we're looking elsewhere, Pittsburgh, they got to Robbie Ray, pretty early last time out. It was in Arizona. 2 homers off him in 4 innings, then he was out. Struggled with command as he does, often. 11.7% walk rate this year. Does have that 29.8% strikeout rate, so he does bring a ton of upside. 3.62 FIP, 3.45 ERA, top 40 in the league, 10th best swinging strike rate. So, Ray definitely has solid stuff. He does allow a ton of hard contact. Pirates, they do strike out 21.6% of the time against lefties, 20th in WOBA, 23rd in hard contact, 15th in ISO. PNC Park obviously limits home runs, which that's, obviously a plus for Ray, who does give a ton of hard contact and a decent amount of fly balls. And you look at Ray on the road this year, dominant. 198 WOBA compared to 385 at home. Just 1 of his 7 home runs have come away from Chase. ERA currently sits under 1. Walk rate drops 3%. Strikeout rate goes up from 25% to 33%. Hard contact still resides, though. I look at Pirates, right around a 4 total. I expect this game to be kind of low scoring in that ballpark. I don't think there's going to be a ton of production. So I like Ray. I like him as a GPP option. I'm not afraid to use him as a SP1 or SP2 on DraftKings, so I'm completely fine with him there. Luis Severino gets the Orioles tonight. This is always, a threat that can explode on any given night, just given that they have a decent amount of power. But Adam Jones questionable. That takes an important bat out of the lineup. Their numbers have been dropping against right-handed pitching. 19th in WOBA, 18th in WRC+, 22.5% strikeout rate, which ranks 10th highest. Still a matchup that's risky for Severino, but definitely has some upside. I like the fact that he's got a 50+% ground ball rate, 28% strikeout rate, doesn't walk a ton of guys. 260 WOBA to lefties, 280 WOBA to righties this year. Severino throws that slider 38% of the time. Baltimore's not bad against sliders, but they're still below average as a team. So I like Severino. If you're not going to Sale, you certainly can pay down and get a pretty big discount from him. And he does, he comes in as a road favorite, modest team total for Baltimore. So he's certainly in play. Tyler Anderson's a guy I'm going to talk about as kind of a contrarian option tonight. I'm curious to see what the ownership's going to be on him. Struggled in his first 6 starts, 40% ground ball rate. Everything was really below average. Over his last 4 starts, 2.58 ERA, a near 60% ground ball rate, 32% strikeout rate, 14% swinging strike percentage, inducing a ton of soft contact, 28% in that span. And you look at Anderson last year, in Coors, 3 ERA, 3.12 WOBA allowed, 3.51 FIP. Getting that 50% ground ball rate is always a plus in Coors. This is a guy, former first-round pick. He's definitely earned his spot in this rotation, starting to figure things out again here in 2017. Seattle, obviously, they've been awful against lefties. I saw Brian Johnson throw a complete game shutout. They just really haven't been great. I mean, you look at their numbers, 27th in hard contact, 29th in WOBA. Even with Nelson Cruz, they're 30th in ISO against left-handers. Nelson Cruz is probably the only guy that I'll consider using tonight against Anderson. I'm just not on Seattle here. I'll definitely go be against it if they score 10 runs, whatever. I don't mind Anderson. I like him as a favorite here, minus 132. You're always going to see the run totals over 5 for opposing teams and home team, but it should keep ownership down. He's never a cash game guy. No Coors pitcher is, but I don't mind him here. He's extremely cheap on FanDuel. 7K is a single bullet. I don't mind the upside that he brings. 8K on DraftKings, which was a little bit cheaper. I still don't hate it, but there is some upside. So he's certainly playable. And kind of looking at a fifth guy here, I was back and forth on some numerous names, and I like a couple of options here for a cheap SP2. I'm looking at Ivan Nova, and I know he's obviously had some rough starts of late. He hasn't been completely blown up in terms of like earned runs, but he's given up a lot of base runners. He did against this Diamondbacks team. Looking at Arizona, obviously first against right-handed pitching, second in WOBA. They do have a 23.4% strikeout rate, but looking when they go on the road, 370 WOBA and a 40% hard contact rate at home. Away from home, 27th in WOBA, 26% strikeout rate. Their hard contact rate drops 11%. Nova's not going to bring huge strikeout potential here, but I could actually see him go maybe around 5 or 6 if he has the stuff working. Yes, he's allowed 28 hits over his last 3 games, and that's definitely a concern. But rough BABIP, hard contact has been pretty neutral. He's never going to kill your lineup. So I don't mind him as a DraftKings guy or even a Yahoo guy. But FanDuel is way too expensive. I won't be using him there. But I definitely think he's going to be a decent low-owned guy who's not going to have a lot of blow potential even against this offense. So, guys elsewhere, that are worth consideration. Donaldson LeMay obviously gets a Cubs team that's struggling right now. Obviously came out and had a terrific debut, solid numbers at home. I'm not completely just locking him in at the price tag. I'll definitely have some shares, but he's not a must play for me at the price tag even. If you're looking elsewhere, Jose Barrios has, obviously a decent start to the season, 10.8% swing strike rate. A lot of that came in the Colorado game. I believe it was up 14, 15%. Not walking as many guys as before, 5.1% walk rate over his 2 starts, 28% strikeout rate. Problem is, Houston's just been so damn good. It's hard to really pick on them right now, especially in that ballpark with the wind blowing out. So the DraftKings price is intriguing. I don't know if I'll be slipping him into my laps. I like the upside. I just don't know if this is a spot for him. Things are going to start to obviously come down a little bit, given the fact that there is a 106 BABIP, 100% left on base percentage. Those things are all going to start to even out. So he's not at a bad price. I think DraftKings, he's much more playable. I think on FanDuel it's a little bit more riskier given the fact that he does have a higher price tag. So outside of that, you're kind of staying away from guys. I still don't like Bartolo Colon as much as I hate the Angels offense now. I won't be going that route. Eddie Butler, he might draw some interest. Still going up a ton of hard contact, walking a ton of guys. I know it's the Padres. I just can't get the heart to play him or put him in. Outside of that, I think there's easily some guys that are just kind of staying away in that mid-range, like Waka. Verlander's too expensive, not in the greatest of spots against the Royals. Kenta 8 on a tough spot as well. So there's definitely some guys that just kind of look out and fade. Jeff Samardzija is interesting as a GPP guy. He's going to be super low-owned. He's been pitching really well of late. He's the guy I might actually consider as kind of a deep tournament shot. So let's kind of things up here. You can head over to DaveFantasyCafe.com, check out your rate tools and content.